Do it.
Yeah. So I didn't go for coffee this morning. I went for like water, like flavored water, because I had caffeine late last night to stay up late and get some stuff done. So
What were you doing?
I was getting videos created. So for our team, we were putting together like a training group for our team. So then that way, as we bring new people on, they can just go into the group and go through and like get that stuff done. I'm going to change our view here. There we go. Hey, look at that.
Hey.
But yeah, I was just doing some videos and stuff like that for getting that stuff ready for our team. And then that way, when new people come in, they just have to go into the group and they can consume the content in real time without having to wait for meetings or whatever, basically give them stuff to do, and figured it would work out all right there. So I'm looking.
Sweet. That's super awesome.
Yeah.
So while we're waiting for some people to kind of catch up to us, why don't we say, if you're live, hit like hashtag live.
Absolutely.
If you're watching the replay, hashtag replay.
Absolutely.
What do we want to do? Like our pages our profiles on Facebook. If you're on YouTube, hit the like button.
Totally. Like people who are on YouTube, in the description, in the description eventually there will be that kind of stuff, links to our profiles. Yeah. But I mean, you can find us on Facebook. There's our personal YouTube channels are linked on our YouTube channel, so definitely give those a subscribe for sure. And look at, we got Bridget here with us this morning already. Good morning, Bridget. Nice to see you.
What's up?
And so and then absolutely, we're this is kind of new still, so we're still learning kind of how we want to do our intro as we come in. But episode 2,
very much,
but episode 2 of Those Two Dads, man. And we titled this one, "Is It Organic?" Because later on we're going to talk about some organic marketing strategies. But right away, like, dude, what's up? Like, how's things been going?
It's good, man. I got a couple stories to share with you real quick.
Do it.
All right. So my wife's out of town today, and so it's just the boys. I picked them up from their school yesterday, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Heather, she keyed in Finley, who's our oldest. He's 6. She's like, Finn, I'm not going to be here tonight. It's just going to be you, Dad, and your brother. And so he knew what was going on. So I'm like, "What's up, dude? Just us boys tonight." He's like, "Dad, good thing Mom's not here tonight to boss you around." And so we're in the car, and he's behind me. He's not seeing my face or whatever. I'm like, I'm just laughing to myself, right? I'm like, "Do you really think that, Finn?" And he's like, yeah. It's so funny. I tell Heather that, and she's like, "Meh."
Right. She probably just thinks, well, he's right.
I'm like, yeah, no shit, you bossy ass. Anyway, that's super funny. Yeah. And so we immediately drive to the grocery store, and I don't know what the heck we're going to do for dinner at this point. And I'm just thinking to myself, I think a steak kind of sounds good. I'll grill a steak. Boys, you want a steak? And they're like, yeah, we like steak. Okay, what do you want with it? And Finley again, he's like, barbecue chips. Like, all right, that sounds great. Yeah. Let's do it. So, it's a boys' night last night.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so it's funny though, because I totally relate with the whole the bossing around and stuff like that, because there's times where, so what was it like? It was sometime last week. And Owen kind of does the same thing where, he knows that Mom's the boss. He knows that Mom is the one that's she's there, and then she, kind of keeps the house running. Cause I'm usually doing stuff with our business, and I'm, doing other stuff, whatever, keeping things rolling. And so it was getting ready for bedtime. Everything's fine, and I was like, all right, I'm going to go ahead and, get you ready for bed, because Mom's taking care of dishes. We just got done with dinner. And he goes, "No, I want Mom to do it." And I said, "Well, why?" And he goes, "Because Mom does it. Mom puts me to bed." And I said, "Well, I can put you to bed." And he goes, "No, you don't know how to put me to bed."
Yeah, been there, done that.
Dude, I was like, come on. He goes, no, mama snuggles with me. He goes, you just give me hugs and leave. I was like, okay. Like,
you're so cold, Dad.
You're right. So it's awesome. Hey, Eileen, good morning. Thanks for being on with us. And yeah, I mean, dad life is interesting, man, because the weird part about it is, like, so many times you think you've got it under control, even with boys. Like, you and I both have 2 boys. And even with it being under control and you're like, okay, I got this. And they just throw you a curveball and you're like, you're supposed to be on my side. You're supposed to be on, like, you're supposed to be my buddy. You're supposed to be my bro. And they're like, nah, we love mom. It's like, come on.
We'll get there eventually.
Yeah, right. Or when they get older, they're going to be like, mom, whatever. Like, hey, dad, let's go shoot some guns.
Probably. And then that'll come back around. It'll be mama's boys.
Oh, dude, I'll admit it right here. Again. Scouts honor or whatever that is. I'm a mama's boy. I love my mom. Like, it actually makes me sad because my mom lives like 2 hours, across the country. Like, she's 2 hours behind us, but she lives over in California, and I don't see her all that much. And so it's just like, there's times when I get on the phone with my mom and my wife's like, okay, so we got to leave or go do something at this time or whatever. And like an hour and a half later, she's like, are you done yet? Like, no, I'm talking to my mom.
See, we both, Heather and I, our parents are both 20 minutes away from us.
Oh,
so it's
like, we've had enough of them.
At time, I mean, never actually, never really. Like, it is, it's they're our parents and we have great relationships with our parents, but like things like the free babysitting or just the simple fact that our kids can go see them almost whenever they want, which is a completely different story from a logistics standpoint for you. Like, that's impossible for them to do that.
Right.
So like, we're very right. We're very lucky in that regard. So
that is cool.
And I honestly don't know how, like, transplants, like your wife's from where you're at, right?
Right.
Okay. So you have one family unit that's still there, but like my brother, he's in the military, right? He's in South Carolina and, knows really nobody. I don't know how, and he's got 3 kids.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know how he does it with just life. I call my mom all the time for some help.
Yeah.
All the time.
It is tough. Like, I'll admit there's times where, when it comes to business, Katie and I, we're very thankful of the fact that her parents do a lot for us in terms of helping out with the boys, they were
there last weekend.
Yeah.
That's why you didn't have cameras falling on your desk. You had support.
Right. That's why I didn't have that. So that was my dad. My dad lives about an hour away. And
okay.
So he, he came in and, we talked to him because we like to try to give Katie's parents a break every now and then because
I totally get that. Yep.
Yeah. Well, and
you don't want to feel like you're just like a taker in the relationship.
Right. And so what we've done is, I mean, they watch the boys every other Thursday when we go out of town for business. Here coming up in a couple weekends, because what we'll be doing is, we have this episode today, and then we're going to do one right away again next weekend, because the weekend after that, which normally would be that every 2-week cadence, is when we're going to be out of town, and we're going to be, about a couple hours away at a business conference. And so the thing with that is, like, Katie's parents will watch the boys, and we used to just kind of do whatever, and like, they would watch the boys, and we'd thank them for it, maybe take them out to dinner or like bring them dinner or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And now what we've started doing is we started just asking her mom, like, hey, what stuff of ours from our business do you want to try? Like, what stuff do you want to have? And she'll be like, oh, okay, I'd like to try this. I'll try this. And I'll get you some money. We're like, no, like, you will not get us any money. Like, we will just get it for you and we will give it to you, because that's the thing, is trying to give them a little bit of grace for, what they do for us, try to give back a little bit and say, hey, but dude, they're the only family.
They still wouldn't trade it. They wouldn't trade it for anything, man.
I know. I know.
Grandbabies.
I know. Well, and they're,
because I get guilty in the same. Yeah, I get guilty in the same way with my parents and her parents, but they don't care. They're just like, we get to see our grandbabies. It's fine.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, man. It's, that's the thing is I hope that when Katie and I get older, that our kids are close enough that we can enjoy grandkids. And, we've got a lot of friends that have had kids recently, and, one of them lives half an hour south of us. The other one lives, an hour or a couple hours away the other direction, and like, it's hard because sometimes, you want to get together and stuff. And then, you talk to them and like, hey, I want to do this time. And you want to see everybody's kids and you want to get all the kids together. That's, as parents, that's what we want, is we want our kids to have good friends.
Yep.
We got to do what we got to do to keep the wheel turning.
Yeah. Well, that's actually something I've thought about of late, because it's really interesting how your friend group, yours and Katie's, and then the kids' friends group will like rotate through life, right? So it starts out kind of like what you're saying, like you have your core group of friends, and then they start having kids, and you want them to be friends, which, that certainly will happen, but your time with those people start to dwindle down as your kids start to become active in whatever activities they may be doing, or your activities may change, right? Like you're more focused on your business. So the people you're interacting with most are probably within the business, right? And so that core friend group that you start with, like, not that they go to the back burner, because that's really not the right phrase, because you always can come back to those people and pick up like right where you left off type of thing, right? But the groups just shift as the kids start to get into activities. So like Finley, our oldest, is starting hockey, like club hockey this fall, and so we're in. It's not as fancy as it sounds. He's just on a team, as opposed to going to like these big, basically like organized practices. We did it through like the St. Louis Blues organization, over at their new practice facility. But now he's like closer to home on a team and play games and stuff. But so we'll start interacting with like all those families, and then our youngest will start playing with the kids that are at the practice. And so anyway, like, I guess I don't necessarily know where I'm going with this, but it's interesting to just kind of watch that path through life. It's even the best laid plans of like having your friends be best friends with their kids. It doesn't quite work out that way sometimes.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I would love to have that, obviously, and it was tough for us right away, because one of the things that we ran into when we had our first kid is we were young, and so all of our friends.
Yeah, so you started off early. Yep.
Right. And so we had to kind of pull back from going out and doing a bunch of stuff. We lost a few friends because they hated coming over to our place all the time. They were just like, oh, why don't you guys go somewhere else? It's like, I can't really take a 2-year-old to the bar. Sorry. Like, it just doesn't work.
That's their loss, not your loss.
I agree. I didn't think that way back then, but now that time has passed, I agree that those relationships weren't healthy when, they're giving us crap for making the right decision and taking care of our kids. Right.
Yeah.
So,
and they felt guilty about losing, you and Katie, who were pre-parents. You know how you're a different person before you're a dad.
Oh yeah.
You just are,
yep.
But your priorities change. And as those people mature and get older, they'll understand later on. But at the time, it's still like they're in a little bit of grief mode there too, because they're losing past you, and they're not up and they're not with you yet. I went through that, I guess, from I didn't give my friends shit for it, but I felt sad that I didn't get to, have that same friend person all the time. It's more selfish feeling than anything. And then I became a dad, and then like immediately, like, you just understand. You're like, okay, I totally get where that was coming from, and it was ridiculous for me to feel that way.
Right. Well, I had one of my friends that kind of gave me the same talk, is when we were hanging out one time, and he's a little older than I am, and he's been awesome. He's one of my best friends. I know, with us being in business, and if he's watching right now, I hope that he understands that, there isn't any like hard feelings with not being around as much as we used to be, because we're trying to build a new life for ourselves. We're trying to, build a business. That way we don't have to spend all of our time working, and we can spend more time with each other, more time with our kids. But it sucks because sometimes the time with our friends, the ones that we truly love, like the really great friends we have, that time gets sacrificed. But it's not just with them, like it's with our family, it's with everything. I mean, you put focus on things. And so we've tried our best to try to like do things here and there with them. And so we're hoping, we're planning to have a barbecue here in like the first weekend of October, to be able to get together and kind of like just be able to be around each other again. And even, we've learned that we can't expect all of our kids to be friends. We can't expect everybody to just be always on the same page. But the conversation we had is, he says, dude, I get it now. He's like, you don't realize what work goes into being a parent. Like, yeah, when you watch somebody else's kids, you're like, oh man, they're a lot of work. And you go to somebody's house with their kids, you're like, wow, that's got to be a lot of work. But then you become a parent, you're like, what the hell did I just get myself into? But then you realize that you will do anything for that child. Like, it's different when you're watching somebody else's kid, even if it's family, and you're like, this is my niece or my nephew, whatever. And like, you'll do a lot for them, but there's still that disconnect of like, it's not my kid. Whereas once you have your own child, you're like, I will stop the world for you. Like, I will take a bullet for you. Like, that's, that mentality changes. And that's the thing that, him and I had a very serious conversation about it. And I was just like, we've been in this mode for 12, at the time, 11 years, like our youngest was born when I was 22, or sorry, our oldest, I was born when I was 22. So I'm like, I get it. Like that's where we were. And so now a lot of these people that we built relationships with, they all started having kids, and they are going like, we get it now. And it's like, my goal is never to tell people
now you're the wise sage.
Right. Over here, Schonert the gray. I'm starting to, see some gray.
That's funny.
It's just amazing that relationships change, not because it's bad. And, and sometimes bad things happen and relationships change, but even good things happen and relationships change. And there's nothing wrong. Yeah, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, it's hard to grasp that as a younger person. Some people kind of mature a little bit faster than others, but it's a hard, at least for me, that was a difficult concept to grasp sometimes. For my close friends, like life just moves on. Like you graduate college and everybody goes kind of back to their hometowns or whatever, or wherever their new jobs are taken in. You don't have the same relationship anymore that you did over the past, 4 years or whatever it is. Or maybe you move and you don't get to see your neighbors, because you get to see your neighbors almost anytime you want, type of a thing.
Yeah, we've been through that too. Yep.
Yeah. It was interesting. There was a like you go around on Facebook and comment on people's stuff and things like that. And there's this one post where this guy was like, are you doing this? You're like, are you building your business for money, or are you building it for time, or something like that? And then a lot of people are putting on there like, well, I'm doing it for the time, right? And I'm putting on there, I'm like, no, man, I'm doing this for the money. And the reason why is so I can get the time late, like now and later. Like that's the point. Like like right now, like I'm not like, it's not time freedom for me yet, like at all. And so you do it to build. You got to build to have the financial freedom to have the time,
right?
So that was kind of my takeaway on that. And so, like, to your point, is like you sacrifice time. You're sacrificing time with a lot of things, like you were talking about with your friend group, with your family, and we sacrifice sleep because 2 nights ago I was up till 3:30. You were up last night to God knows when. So you sacrifice it so you can sacrifice now so you can have freedom a little bit later. And so this is how that goes.
Dude, I'm with you. And I think that the biggest thing is that, when it comes to just kind of how things go in our world and our lives, and just a lot of the, like you said, the sacrifices that we make. Sometimes it hurts, sometimes you get into a point where you're just like, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. You're like, I'm sick of making all these sacrifices and my life coming to a complete halt and just everything being so bogged down. And then one day you wake up and you're like, what am I talking about? No, this is what I'm doing to like build my legacy. This is going to be my life. This is going to be how I'm going to be able to provide the best life possible for my kids. And I agree with you. We didn't, obviously when people start business, they don't get into business to just be in business. They're not just like, oh, I love business, I'm going to get in business. Like, you get in business to make money, but
it's a means to an end, man. You begin with the end in mind, right? And then there's a time investment, right?
Yeah. And that's the thing, is the investment to be able to pour into yourself, to be a better person, to be a better version of yourself. And it'll change automatically. Like, we've seen over the last couple of years that we've really been hitting it hard. We've seen so many changes, and those changes, some are positive, some are negative, depending on how you look at it. But in reality, we do this because, like you said, if we can get the money to be financially independent and be, to a point where we don't have to sacrifice our day for a job, then that's where the money comes in, to be able to give you that aspect to buy back your time. People say like, oh, business is going to give me my time. No, the money gives you your time. The business is the means to get the money. Right. But that doesn't mean that money is everything. It's just people look at it.
It's weird. Again, it's a means to an end. Your end is the time freedom, so you can have the flexibility to do the things that you want to do, whether that's be with your, be as much as you possibly can with your family, take some trips, go to some concerts, be as invested as you want in philanthropy, like whatever it may, like whatever floats your boat. But you can't do that kind of stuff unless you have the dollars to do it. Like, I mean, you can give back with time and stuff like that, but like, you want real freedom. So.
That's, and don't get me wrong too. Like, I've got a few friends that, some of them may be, maybe watching, some of them may not, but I've got people.
I actually think you didn't have any friends at all, really.
Right? Like, no friends, absolutely no friends. Like, you're not even a friend. You're just here because I need you. I need you for this podcast. I can't do it on my own. No.
At least I'm needed.
Right. It must be nice to feel needed for once, huh?
Yeah. Right.
But no, I've got some guys on my profile that are they're part of either my team or like at work, like working for Microsoft. They're either part of my team or part of the company itself. And there's times that we've had conversations personally where they're just like, dude, I don't like the way that you talk about trying to leave Microsoft. And I'm like, you don't have to like it. Like, it's not for you, it's for me. And if you don't like it, there's the door. Like, the door is the unfriend button. Like, you can just go away. But it's not that I want people to be upset, and it's not that I want to be abrasive, but there's the thing is that some people just don't understand the difference of, like, some people get into a job and they take the big jug of Kool-Aid and just start pouring it over their whole body. And they're just like, I'm just like, I love my job. I love my company. And it's like, that's great. I'm happy for you, honestly. And anybody who's watching this, if you love your company and you love working 9 to 5 and you love their benefits and everything, I am happy for you. Not in a sarcastic way, truly, genuinely happy for you, because you found something. But that's not me.
I'll be happy for you if you're happy, but I can tell you one thing, that company doesn't feel the same way about you.
100%. That the management is trained to tell you that the company appreciates you and the company loves this stuff. But in reality, if you were to get into the nitty-gritty of like the background of how companies work, most people don't realize that those gifts and those awards and all that stuff, that's all pre-planned. They've got a roadmap laid out of like, if you do X, Y, Z, you get this reward. If you do this, this, and this, you get this benefit. You know, like how many times people get a job.
And I don't think that's not a wrong way to be as a corporation. No, I don't think for that point. But like here's my biggest takeaway in general with businesses is, in this day and age, people like to talk about customers being like the number one asset to your business, which is completely false. Your people are. And so if you don't invest in your people, if you don't take care of those people, if you don't make sure that they have the tools to do the best job possible so that they can support your customers, so that they can get you the results that you're looking for to scale your business or to grow your business or be successful, like then you're doing it wrong. Your people are your number one asset. And so that's and that's a mentality. That's a whole that's a whole shift for especially big companies where they need to invest in their people. Some companies do it well. A lot don't, especially small business. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, just so that they don't think they have the time and tools to be able to do that. And so, it's all about speed. If this person's not, doing X, Y, Z, I'm just going to cut them and find somebody else, which honestly, that's more expensive and more time consuming, but
sure is.
That's the speedboat mentality, is you think you can just cut bait.
Well, and that's the thing is, and I'm not going to be the guy that sits here and just badmouths any company. I'm very grateful for the opportunity I have, with the company I work with. I'm very grateful with the benefits they provide and the pay that I get and everything like that. And
just in case HR is watching,
right? Just in case HR is watching, right? but truthfully, like I bust my butt, because the thing is that one of the things that I get to do with my job is I get to help people. I get to get on with these big companies that are struggling with the problem, and I get to help them find a solution to the problem. And that's literally what I'm doing with my business too, is I'm helping people find solutions to their problems. That's what entrepreneurial spirit is all about. It's just,
absolutely,
I don't want to do that for 40 years, every day, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, 8 to 5, whatever, I don't want to do that for 40 years. And the thing is, it's not because I don't like the company. It's not because I don't think they'll take care of me, because I've seen the kind of people that can retire from Microsoft, and I've seen the kind of, the plans that are put together of how people can be set up really well. But my thing is, I want control of my time, and I want to be able to control my schedule. And a good example is like this week, I talked to you about how this week was kind of rough for me, because there was just a lot of unintentional interruptions because of how busy it was, which weird. I don't want to say busy, how needy people were, because it was the week before a holiday weekend, which always seems to do this, which is weird because normally Fridays before a holiday weekend are the worst. Everybody's like,
people get anxious, man. I was talking to a friend about that yesterday too. Like, it just anxiety ramps up before you leave town or whatever, and it's weird because you're supposed to be relaxing.
You would think, but it was surprisingly slow yesterday, which was good because I was able to get caught up on a few things that I was kind of trying to get done before. Yeah. But it's that thing.
Go back to what you're talking about, the neediness, though.
Yeah. So like the neediness. So what happens is I can be watching or sitting here, working, whatever. And then somebody will come up to me and say, hey, we got this critical case we need to hop on. Well, now what I'm working on has to hard stop, and I've got to go work on this critical issue. And that could take an hour. It could take 2 hours. It could take all day. It depends. And so the problem that I run into is,
it wasn't actually critical.
Right. Either it wasn't actually critical, which that happened 2 days. So Thursday, there was one that I got that they were like, hey, this is critical. And I got on there. They're like, well, I mean, they can still do their job, but I'm like, so it's not critical. Like, if you're not down, it's not critical.
The customer was just loud. That was
right. That's what it was. Yeah. But that's the whole point, is like, my day at any point in time can just get a wrench thrown in it, and I'm done for. Like, my whole schedule that I had laid out for myself is gone. I have no way to control that. And if I because of the position I'm in, I'm at the mercy of what our customers want. So if I've got a ticket that I gave someone an answer and they didn't like it and they got loud and their ticket bumped up to a critical status, I'm the owner of that ticket. I've got to stop what I'm doing and go help that person. Now, they may not, like in this case, it wasn't critical for them. They were just being anxious. Whereas the one I was working on was kind of critical for them, but he wasn't ready to be sitting on a phone 24/7. So he was like, can you just do as much as possible and we can hopefully get this resolved, right? So that's the thing, is I look at the difference of what can my life be like working in a business for myself and still helping other people. The reason why you and I do what we do is because we get the ability to bring people on that we can teach to do what we do and help them be successful. And in return, we're successful and we will reap that benefit of helping someone else. I still get to do that, but it's not on somebody else's time. It's on my time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the biggest thing.
It's an amazing feeling. It's an amazing feeling to be able to do that and have that kind of control in your own schedule, and you're building a business for you and your family specifically, right. Being able to do that. There's so much gratification you get out around helping somebody else learn a new skill or accomplish a goal, or, maybe take that first step into a new life for themselves. That's real tangible awesomeness that you get to do.
Right.
It's like it really is.
Yeah.
It really is.
So speaking of getting into that aspect, so
I was just going to try to segue too, because we had a plan to talk about a couple things.
Yeah, like trying to segue into it, right?
30 minutes in, here we go.
Hey, that's how it goes though, man. Like sometimes it's just like it's all about, going through and just winging it, man. Like we don't have a bullet sheet sitting here where we're just like, here's what we're going to talk about. We've got a topic and we'll talk about it eventually.
Organic conversation's way better. That's why I love like Joe Rogan's podcast, right?
Oh, I know. And that's kind of what I want. Like, that's why I'm glad that we decided to do it the way we do it, where it's just like, okay, we have a topic and we'll get there and, do that. So I'll look at that. We got Ricky's on here. Love you too, bro. Like, so Ricky is a longtime friend of mine. We grew up in California together. We raced BMX together.
Nice.
We spent, all the time together. So love to see you on here, brother.
Ricky, did you like the movie Rad?
Oh,
BMXer?
dude.
Come on.
Rad. Oh man. I think we've watched that movie tons of times. I can't even imagine. Like, I can't even imagine how many times we've watched that movie. And I know that was, dude. Yeah.
When was the last time you watched it? Probably like 15 years ago or something.
No, actually, so funny enough. Yeah, it was on, I want to say it was Netflix or Hulu not that long ago. I want to say it was Netflix.
Well, did it hold up? Because I haven't seen it in like,
no.
Yeah, of course, right?
No,
well, that's all right.
It was definitely a 90s, early thousands movie. It wasn't a it was good in that time frame because that's when like BMX was. BMX was still big. You were 7. And yeah. Like it was not. It was not one of those where like I watched it because it was me by myself. It was nostalgia for me. Like I don't remember what was going on. I was doing something by myself and I was downstairs and I was down here and I was like, I'm just going to throw on something for background noise. And it's just, like Ricky said, not the same. It really isn't. It really isn't.
Yeah. That's okay though.
Yeah.
Still have good memories. So anyway, we were both this past like 2 weeks starting to really double back down on our organic Facebook outreach, right? Yep. And I know you were into a specific course or training, and I was in a different one. And I think both of our times kind of got derailed a little bit, but we're kind of just reinvesting our time and strategy into what's going to be the most efficient, right, for what we're doing with our Facebook.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And, I will say right off the bat that there's a lot of truth behind, like, when it comes to business and running a business online. And this is something for me that hasn't been years and years of stuff that we've been doing. I mean, we started doing it back in December. We took our business online and started, marketing to people. And it started out just, conversations in Messenger. And it started out with just trying to talk to people, get into certain groups and things like that. And then it just turned out to be getting deeper and deeper into other strategies. We started running ads. We built up a business page, which, don't get me wrong, that stuff works wonders. It really does. But I don't know, it's not the same feeling. I mean, what do you think? Like, how do you perceive organic marketing versus all the others?
Well, so organic marketing is more time consuming, and that's like, it's the truth. It is. It's more time consuming, but that's okay, because you get to build deeper relationships. You get to actually find out a person's why, as opposed to when you're running paid ads, paid traffic. A lot of that, runs through a funnel. It's meant to be automated. It's a little bit of a colder strategy, but that's the trade-off. You're trading time, your time, and for speed, right? But with organic, you don't necessarily like speed. It's speed in a different way, because if you're executing your strategies correctly, you already are in an audience that's self-aware that they have a problem. They're self-aware that there are solutions out there. They're just like, your ideal customer is somebody that is ready to take action, but just doesn't quite know what to pull the trigger on yet and why. And so, those are the trade-offs, because you do need to spend a little bit more time in Messenger specifically, and in groups, making sure that you're friending the right people, to be able to have those conversations and decide if what you have will be good and can help them.
Right.
But, once you're able to do that, I think you're building those deeper relationships. And you know what, too, they might not buy from you now. They could buy from you later, or they could become a friend, or they could do a podcast with you.
Whoop, whoop. Yeah. Well, and that's true, Dan. I mean, and it's so hard because, when I got started into network marketing in general, and it was all about meeting people in person, and it was all about creating relationships and building bonds and building friendships and creating that know, like, and trust factor, but doing it with people in person. And it was tough. And it was not easy to start building a business and just talking to random people. But then as time went on, I realized that, so there's people out there that are looking for what we have, whether it's network marketing, whether it's affiliate marketing, whether it's, real estate, whatever it might be. There's people that are looking for what we have, even if we don't have the full picture of what we want right away. They want that like we talked about earlier, a means to an end. They want a means to an end to say, like, I want control of my life. How do I get control of that? How do I move that needle? How do I take that next step forward? And they're scared. And so when we took our business online, we went through a lot of these different strategies of, like, trying to bring in leads with lead magnets and all this stuff. And a lot of that stuff still rings true in organic marketing, and especially organic Facebook marketing, because, we don't want to give it, oh, you're good, dude. We don't want to give it like talking about organic all over the place, because organic for each platform is different. I did a post recently, or did a live here just on Wednesday, that talks about the different platforms and how they are perceived differently. And like, YouTube is all about SEO. YouTube is all about getting the keywords right to get people to your videos. Instagram is all about having pretty pictures. TikTok's about being funny and having short, quippy videos, whereas Facebook is about just connecting with people. And what's crazy about that is
it's the longer form.
Right. It's the longer form. And
social.
So you've got more to do. And so, but there's also more ways to get yourself bogged down. And so I think that the organic side of things, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe that is more personable because you're not just throwing an ad in someone's face and saying, hey, come look at my stuff. Even though some people are really good at making their ads look personable, I still think,
first of all, on Facebook, you have to have, like, what you're competing with is somebody's attention. And what are they on there for? Entertainment.
Right. Absolutely.
Right? Entertainment. So if, like, you're doing a paid ad, it needs to be entertaining so that it can stand out, which that's a conversation for a different day. But what you're doing with both and is funneling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we both went through the one funnel away challenge, but you're funneling. The kids are coming in now.
There we go.
Yeah. You're funneling a prospect through your process. Hey, I'm on the phone, pal.
I'm calling Carson to thank him for the Pokemon hat.
The Pokemon hat? Okay. Can you guys step out for a little bit? We're almost done.
I want to go to Legos.
The Legos?
Yeah, the Legos.
Okay. This is the Lego room. I'm not in the basement today.
Oh, that's fair.
So in the Lego room, so we have...
Daddy, I want to help you.
You want to help? Well, last time you tried to help, you pulled the camera down. Can you say hi to... Can you say hi to Josh right there? You see him?
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah. Yeah. Here, why don't you go play with your brother? Okay. So back to what we're talking about. Paid ads are organic. You're funneling, right? Like, the whole idea is to have start at the top, funnel people down. So basically, you're having conversations. You're engaging. You're finding out what people's likes are. You're finding out what their wants are, what their dreams are. What are they trying to accomplish? And you're making a decision based on your conversation. You're making a decision. They're making a decision to continue that process on what you might have that could help them. So you continue to funnel them from, somebody you're just outreaching to a prospect, to a potential customer, and whatever else the funnel needs to be. But that's the same way with paid. You're just doing it in a little bit of a different way. But with organic, you're really getting to know who that person is, and you're connecting on a deeper level. And like you were talking about with that know, like, and trust, is that's how you do it. They got to know you, they got to like you, they got to trust you in order to continue to move through that funnel with you and ultimately make a buying decision or whatever it may be. And so
Absolutely.
it's definitely a more powerful connection to be able to, and probably a stronger sale overall.
Right. Well, and I think that's what initially, I did a lot more in paid ads right away, because that was the idea for me was, I wanted to try to reach as many people as possible and reach as many, get as many eyeballs on my offers. But what I found was that I was losing that personal connection, because people would see the offer and they'd go, oh, okay, whatever. And they'd click on the ad and then they'd bounce out. They're like, oh, I don't want that. And there was never a connection, even though my picture was on it, even though my face was on the ad, and it looked just like what you would see scrolling through, the Facebook feed. Basically, you would run into a situation where you would have a disconnect, because that person didn't personally talk to you before they saw your offer. They just saw your offer first, and then they went, I don't want it, and then they move on. And with organic marketing, one of the things that becomes really powerful is people can't just look at your offer and move on anymore. Now they look at your post and go, well, do I want to engage with this post, or do I want to move on? And
if you're doing it right, if you're building your audience right, you've spoken to every single one of those people already.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's and even if they didn't reciprocate the conversation.
Yeah. I'm not saying pitched. I said spoken, right? It's a big difference. Because if your first or second message out the gate to somebody is a pitch, you're doing it wrong.
100%.
It's awful.
100%.
Don't be that person.
No, don't. As our friend Fabian says, don't be a Spamela Anderson. So, but it's true. I mean, so many people go out there and they just blast, and it's like, you guys, you're giving everybody else a bad name. And yes, there is some truth that some people they get energized on seeing somebody making money, and they're like, oh, I want to make money. But those are the people that are like they're the shiny object syndrome people. They're the ones that are like, ooh, this person made $500. I'm going to follow them today. And then, oh, that person made $500 tomorrow. I'm going to follow them tomorrow. And they just bounce around because they're just trying to make money. They're not trying to build a lifestyle.
No strategy there either.
There's no strategy. And I agree that some people are just taught the wrong way and they don't know better. And they get into, an opportunity where they just say, well, we want you to post 3 times a day, and we want you to, one post is personal, one post is, a call to action, and another post is showing results. And it's like, that's great. Except number one, 3 times a day is too much. Like once a day, guys, once a day. That's it. One post. And maybe, one, well, we'll rephrase this. One strategic
1 to 2.
Post. Another, if you have another post, make it something just personal. Make it something quippy, whatever. But don't post all over the place and be like posting at like 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. and like trying to just flood people's newsfeed, because what happens is, especially in the Facebook world, Facebook goes, nah, you're a spammer.
They punch down the algorithm there, and in your reach. Every post you have in a 24-hour span, the reach diminishes each time.
Yep. That's why it's good that your first post of the day is strategic. That's your post that you want attention to. And anything after that is stuff that you're just, whatever else you're throwing in.
Yeah. Hey, Ollie, come on, man. We're still building Legos over here.
Heck yeah.
I mean, I'm not complaining.
Right?
But the timings could be better.
Yeah, it's fine. See, that's the thing.
Maybe that'll be the next video, or then we'll just build some Legos. I'm
game.
You be down for that?
I'd be down for that.
Ollie, that's not gonna fit, pal. You gotta find a different one.
Yeah, I've got my oldest has got a huge like 4 foot by 2 foot by 1 foot bin of Legos. I could take my phone. That is a good idea. We could totally do that and just be like, you know what, we're going to build Legos with our kids for an episode, and just
and they can build and we can talk and be on. Build and talk at the same time. I mean, usually I'm building too, because absolutely. I love Legos.
Yeah,
we did. I know we're talking Facebook, but we have a Lego store in the city.
Oh,
in this little part of town called Kirkwood. It's a resale store though. It's called the Minfig store for like mini figurines, right? Short for that. And you can go in, and they got bins of Legos everywhere. Bins of Legos. So you can pick up pieces. You can build your own little guy with accessories, and
nice.
Like you can make it whoever you want them to be. Like they have everything. But then they also have sets that are put together, and you can buy sets from as low as like $5, $10, 25, whatever, all the way up to like hundreds of dollars for the big ones. It's crazy. And if I was 8 years old again, like that is heaven.
Yeah, dude, I got to hear back this winter. I got to go through and we bought a huge crane set for my oldest. And it was one of those like Technic sets or whatever, where like the parts move and everything.
Yeah.
And dude, that thing took us like a week doing it, like two to 3 hours a night. Took a whole week for us to put that thing together. But we did it together, and it was so awesome. Like the experience was so amazing because we got to do it together, and it was like he'd be building a piece and I'd be building a piece, and then we'd get the pieces put together, and then there's times where he'd just be like, you know what, my fingers hurt, so here, Dad, I'm gonna give you the pieces, and you put it together and whatever. And it was a lot of fun, and I think that it's funny. My brain is immediately relating building Legos with your kids to exactly how Facebook organic marketing works.
For sure, it's a lifestyle post.
Yeah, and honestly, you're also. Think about the time you're spending with your kids building Legos is kind of like the time you're spending with the people that you're marketing to, building relationships.
Oh, you went in a different direction.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, both directions. Absolutely. You know, you have the things that you're doing with your kids as lifestyle posts. That's here's what I'm doing, you know. But then you have the other things of like actually relating the actions themselves.
Hey.
So yeah, it's definitely there's definitely some similarities to how we are dads and how we bring that into our business and how we treat the people that we're with that same loving, sharing, giving heart, because we want what's best for the people that we're in business with the same way we want what's best for our kids.
For sure. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. And when you're actually on the platform, right, the things that you need to be cognizant of, aware of, I can't say cognizant this morning, but aware of, is everything you're doing needs to create the ability for somebody to get to know you, to like you, and to trust you, right? Mm-hmm. And then the way that you do that within your posts, so that we're adding value today, is what you talked about with results, with value, with lifestyle. Well, what the heck does that mean, especially if you're just starting out, right? Well, the lifestyle is like what we just talked about. Like that's a fun little thing, playing Legos with your kid. And if you're trying to connect with other similar types of people in the same boat, which I think most of us start out that way, by the way, is we want to connect with somebody who's in the similar boat as us. So like some dads that are trying to build a better life for our family, for example, would be kind of where we're at, right? And so you want to be able to show that side of you to your audience or your friends or, you know, whoever you're connecting with, so they understand, like, oh yeah, dude, that guy understands me. I know exactly what that person's going through, type of a thing, right? So that's kind of what a lifestyle post's all about, you know. And I follow some people that have like the lifestyle posts of they live on a tropical island and they have GoPro videos and that kind of thing, which
like Peter,
that's cool and fun to see, but yeah, that's cool and fun to see, but that's nothing that's going to work for me, you know. Maybe if I was 22 again.
Yeah.
But that's
or maybe when your kids are all grown up and out of the house and you and your wife can just go to tropical islands.
When we're 60, I'm going to do a GoPro cliff jump just for you.
Dude, okay? You know what? You probably won't even have to do it for me because I'll probably be doing it with you.
There you go.
Let's just be real. Right? We're going to be 60 years old and be like, are we doing this? You'd be like, yeah.
Right. But I mean, you know, so those are the lifestyle posts, and you're connecting with people that are basically on similar courses to you, right? And you want to be able to show that type of thing. And so that's just lifestyle. That's just the lifestyle piece, right? The value. What are you learning, right? Did you learn a cool lesson? Put it out there. People would love to know that stuff. Like, and here's the other thing. What we just did is we had a story that we were talking about with Legos, and you had a different takeaway than what my takeaway was. And that happens with everything. And, you know, if that's the biggest thing the biggest takeaway I've ever had from a coach. I had a leadership coach a number of years ago, and and he's on a speaking circuit, and we were talking about getting up in front of an audience and that kind of thing. I'm like, well, I don't know if I have to say is unique. He's like, who cares? It doesn't matter. He's like, it doesn't matter, because you could say, you and I could have the same exact speech, like written down, right? And because of the way that you deliver it or I deliver it, and who we connect with and who connects back with us, those takeaways and that audience could all be completely different. You know, they're in the Venn diagram, there could be some overlap, but there's still two segments that your voice reaches better than my voice reaches, and the takeaways are going to be different. We could read the same book and have different takeaways. And so that's important to keep in mind when you're putting your value posts out there, is your audience is connecting with you in its own unique way, and your voice is its own unique thing. And each person has a different takeaway. So don't let, is this my own original thought, or is this like, maybe this isn't new to my audience? Who cares? If it's new, if you learn something, put it out there. You're going to affect somebody's life. They will read that. And maybe they don't even comment, by the way, but they're reading, they're looking.
Oh yeah. Well, and here's a good example of that too, is let's say for, like, for example, you put a bunch of posts out that are super valuable to you, and like you said, you put a value post out, and let's say 50 people comment on it, right? And you're like, man, I got 1,000 friends on my friends list. Like, where's the other 950 people? But then you go put out a post that's fun and engaging, and 300 people comment on it, and you go, holy crap, where are these people when I put out a value post? Newsflash, they're there.
Wait till you put out a results post. See what happens.
Right. But here's results post. They're just like, people are like, yeah, whatever. But the thing is that people are there and they're watching, and people are always like, they may not react to it because a lot of times, and I will say this because this is how I used to be before I learned the appropriate ways to utilize social media in a marketing sense. But I used to.
There's a little gamesmanship to it.
There's some gamesmanship, but I used to be afraid to respond to posts because I didn't want other people to know that I liked something. I didn't want other people to know.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. Like you're like, oh, I don't want them to know that I want to do that or that I'm interested in that. And so what really got me with, what you just said is like, they may not even comment. You're right. They may not.
They won't.
But I'll tell you what.
But they still read it. Yeah.
Yep.
And that's the same thing with the results post. So that's the third leg in that, right? People are still reading those. But the reason you put those on there, whether it's your results, and if you're new, you utilize your team's results. Okay. That's definitely appropriate.
Yes.
Right. Utilize your team's results, because that's social proof. That's social proof, and what you're involved in can create real results. And maybe you're not generating those results for yourself just yet, but your audience needs to see that what you have can produce, right?
Oh yeah.
And so, but that's the thing. They're looking. It's just not a sexy thing to comment on.
No,
usually,
it's not.
It just really isn't, unless like you're the person that, I don't know, made $200,000 in like 90 days or something, which they're out there.
Okay? They are, like, but then again,
I have a mentor that's one of those guys.
On those because of how some of those I'm just like, okay, you made $200,000 in 90 days. Who did you hold up, or what bank did you rob? Because chances, but that's how
we got to get your mind. We got to get your mindset right, because that's really happening.
No, it is. No,
it's not me and you yet, but
no, it is.
We are 1 degree separated from those people who are really doing that.
No, I was playing around, but
are you drawing on me?
Yeah. So it's interesting that we have people that are in our company, higher up in the company, that have been around for quite some time. And I know there's some of them that are, they are in that realm of bringing in a couple $100,000 every 90 days. I know one of them for sure, he's $100,000 a month. And the thing is it's not that, it's like you said, it's not sexy. It's not, people don't look at it and they're like, ooh, yeah. People get skeptical.
Well, the problem with it is you're so far away. Most people are so far away from achieving that goal. The bridge is too long, so they don't relate, and it's easy to see why. Which is why it's so powerful to see somebody that is seemingly one step ahead or on the same level as you, and maybe they just learned something different that day. Like that. That's more. There's a better connection with that than being that other guy.
Yeah, and that's
in my opinion.
That's why I made the comment I did, because it's like, how many times do you hear that or you see that on people's results posts where someone goes like, "Hey, look at this! I made $90,000 in 24 hours when I launched my funnel," and then all of a sudden, everybody comes out of the woodwork being like, "Oh yeah, BS! I don't believe you. You totally are lying. Blah blah blah. What bank did you hold up? Who did you rob?"
Yeah.
And you start thinking to yourself, like, what are these people doing with their lives that they think all the time? They think all the time that that it's fake when someone provides an astronomical result.
Dude, that's because they're not. Well, for one, they're not actually action takers, in my opinion. Those people, and they're too new to the space. So Have you heard the phrases like you're unconsciously incompetent, and then you're consciously competent, then you're moving through those stages. Like those people are just unconsciously incompetent because they just don't. They're not aware.
Mommy's work papers.
Finley.
Yeah. Well, like Bridget just said.
Sorry.
Bridget said it's hard. Oh, you're good, dude. Yeah, Bridget said it's hard work over time, right? And I agree with that. That it definitely takes work over time to be able to do that. So yeah, we can.
And I guess that's where I was going with that whole thing is because the more that you're exposed to it, the more that you learn, the more that you understand like how this whole online thing works, and you also curate your feed to your friend group to the people who are consciously competent of this stuff. You know, the more that changes your whole entire belief system that seeing somebody with a post like that is actually real.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's the ticket too. And like, I want to highlight Ricky's post here. I'm going to pull this up. So, Ricky had mentioned, I like to think my business is successful, but I'll never make that kind of money, nor do I need to. I'm out to help people make a good living, support my family, but also have time to be with them. And, Ricky, honestly, that is so true because when you think about that, nobody needs to make that amount of money. I mean, if you have a lifestyle that requires you to make $90,000 a month, you've made some pretty terrible choices.
Yeah, that's some poor choices.
Yeah. Poor financial planning, right? But the thing is that sometimes, and in Ricky's case, I'm not going to go too much into what he does, but he has more of a, self-employed type business where, he does stuff for like servicing and repairing appliances. And it's awesome because he's been able to take his business to a point where he can be free from the shackles of a schedule that somebody else creates for him, and he gets to create his own schedule. We were actually just talking about it yesterday where, I'm super proud of him because he's in the past years where he's been running his business, he's taken his business from, being trying to struggle to be in the, in profit stage to now he creates his own schedule and he's constantly got people, ringing him up being like, hey, I need work. And he was telling me like he gets off for a weekend. He comes back Monday morning. His voicemail box is full and he's basically creating his schedule for the week based on his
That's awesome, Ricky. Congratulations, man.
Right. But like, here's the thing is he in a position where he can make, a ridiculous amount of money? Maybe not, but that doesn't matter. It's all about what he is happy
Well,
with.
it's what you want. What life are you trying to create, And I didn't bring up
he's got a great life going on with his wife and his kids. So I'm super happy for him. And that's the thing is some people want to be that guy that makes hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. And some people just want to get to a point where they're just comfortable with their own time.
Yeah. And my point was earlier was just about mindset.
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
Not that you have to be at 200 by next year.
No. Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think
I wouldn't say no personally, but
I would either. If that happened, I'd be like, all right, bring it on. Like, I guess I better go find a professional to manage my money because I know I ain't gonna be able to do it.
I might know a guy.
Right, but hey, we are just over an hour, and I know that you've got some kiddos.
My kids are about to explode in here, so
yeah, they're just like, Dad, come on.
Yeah.
But hey,
so we didn't touch as much on the Facebook stuff that I think we both wanted to, but that's okay. We're still getting in the groove of this thing, and I think too, like as we're talking about, posting this stuff on YouTube, which it is already, but like we can go through and chunk out like different timestamps of what we were talking about. Maybe that would be more valuable to people coming to look at it.
I think so. I think it would be good to work on that, and it's something that we can, since you and I both have the ability to do that, we can definitely take a look at that. But so we will be back actually next week. So a week from today we will be back on, and because 2 weeks from now I will be on for the weekend. That's silly. I love it.
The timing last weekend was great. We were we went down to the lake last week.
I saw that. That great pictures, dude. That was awesome. But yeah, so I think, maybe we'll probably pick up the conversation next week and dive a little deeper into the actual strategies of, marketing on Facebook organically. I know there's some people that are just here to see us be a couple of fun dads and stuff, but we do have things we want to be able to teach people too. So, we'll definitely
hopefully it's a good blend of entertainment and value, right?
I hope so. We
were talking about? No, like, trust, results, value, lifestyle.
Absolutely.
Isn't all we're talking about?
Yep. So, well, great. Appreciate everybody for being here. Bridget, Ricky.
Yeah, thanks for stopping by.
Everybody just making it a great time, and we had a good time, and hopefully you guys did too. And we'll see y'all next time.
Take it easy. Have a great week, guys.